Good evening, welcome to this 30-minute yoga class. I am Zahir and this is my lovely wife Laura. We are going to take you through some very basic sun salutations, some arm balances and some inversions. And for those of you who know my wife, you know that she spends most of her time upside down, so she's going to enjoy sharing some of her wisdom with you for that. We will finish with a seated sequence, and at the end we will have a very peaceful Shavasana. Actually, I'm just joking about that. Those of you who know me know I hate Shavasana. We're just going to finish with we're going to finish with seated belly breathing. I'm not going to take part as much as my wife is. I'd like to talk you through some basic movements as we go through as well. Happy with that, darling? Yeah. So, hands in Namaskar, eyes are closed. And the very basic idea of this is to try and de-stress the shoulders and de-stress the entire body. I'm very consciously now belly breathing. I don't want to use my chest to breathe. If I start to chest breathe, my body starts to feel like I'm anxious or I'm ready to accelerate or run away from something. So my muscles harden, they tighten. And I want my muscles to relax. I want them to be more receptive to what it is we are about to do. So I want to belly breathe, and via this very slow belly breathing, you'll find that your body's much more relaxed and just a little more ready for the demands of the class. So when I breathe in through the nose, I imagine that the stomach is filling with air. I hold my breath at the very top, and then when I exhale, I imagine I'm emptying the stomach. So it's an inhale on a count to 4, hold for a count to 2, and exhale on a count to 6. Now we're going to start with a sun salutation. It's a variation of the sun salutation. Opening your eyes. So the hips travel forward and the chest lifts up as if it's trying to reach up for the ceiling. Stretch the whole body, and as you breathe out, just reach all the way down to the floor. As soon as your hands touch, your head is weightless. Take a few deep breaths. Step back with your right foot, look forward, the left knee just travels forward and the chest lifts up. It's a very light back bend, there should never be any stress into your lower back. As you breathe out, you tuck in the chin and round into your back and step back. Lower the knees down, lower your chest down, and then flatten your body. You're traveling forward with your head, so you are making space for the bones in your lower back, and then you lift up into a high cobra with the weight on your arms and hands. Your lower back is not lifting you up. Slowly tuck in your chin and then slowly go into your downward facing dog. And slow your breathing down. My priority in this position, if Laura stays, is that I want a long spine. I'm not emphasizing the stretch into the back of the legs. Not that that's not important, that's just not the priority. It's about waking up your spine and loosening your spine. So you want to feel like you're in traction. The spine gets longer. And then just lift the left foot off the ground and step forward. Same movement as before, the knee travels forward, the chest lifts up. And I'm not sinking, I'm defying gravity by lifting the chest. And then tuck in the chin. And in one movement, the right foot joins the left. And you just come into a very passive forward fold. On your next inhale, reach up towards the ceiling in your own way. And really stretch the whole body, chest up, and as you exhale, reach all the way back down to the floor. Then push the right knee forward and lift the chest up. Breathe in, lift, and breathe out, tuck in the chin, round the back, step back. Drop your knees, lower the chest down, drag forward. Again, make space for the bones in your lower back. Drag your body forward, and then you can lift into a high cobra or upward facing dog, whatever feels better for your body. But fight gravity the whole time. Tuck in the chin, and then go into your downward dog. Again, my whole focus in downward dog is, am I making space for the bones in my lower back, and am I symmetrical? Lift the right foot off the ground and then step forward. Push your right knee forward, lift the chest up. Tuck in the chin and step forward. Passive fold. Passive meaning that I'm not forcing my head to the shins and I'm not over stressing. I'm just letting gravity stretch the body. As you breathe in, reach up towards the ceiling. Lift the chest, and as you exhale, reach all the way back down to the floor. As you breathe in, come up high onto your fingertips. Reach forward with your head. As you breathe out, lower the stomach first as you come into your fold. Shift your weight forward onto your hands, and then lift your hips and jump back. Go forward, upwards, again create space for the bones in your lower back, and then go into downward dog in your own way. Look forward, focus on lifting your hips as you jump forward. Try not to land as heavy as I did. You want to be as graceful as the missus. Not many of us are though. I do try, darling. On your next inhale, reach up towards the ceiling. Really stretch, 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 and exhale all the way back down to the floor. As you breathe in, come up high onto your fingertips. Reach forward. Exhale, stomach first as you fold. Take the weight forward. Again, you want to feel yourself pushing the floor away from you. And then when you're ready, lift your hips. Jump back. Chaturanga. Go forward and up. Make space for the bones in your lower back. And then downward facing dog. Look forward. When you feel you're ready, lift your hips. Float, jump, land, collapse to the top of your mat. And as you breathe in, reach up towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, just bring your hands to your chest in Namaskar. Come back to your belly breathing. Sorry, darling? So we're just going to take our feet a little bit wider and we're going to sit ourselves down. Don't worry, I'm not
actually doing all the ones I can't do.
I'm not doing goddess pose, don't worry. For anyone who's keeping count, there are 8.4 million yoga poses, and this is one of the 2 that I can do better than the wife. So if you were wondering whether I was theming this class, I am.
This is what I've let myself in for.
The theme is the 2 poses I can do better than my wife. There's only 2, come on, let me, thank you. So this is just setting ourselves up for our arm balance. So all I do is I distribute the weight evenly on both sides, and then when ready, we just go into our arm balance. Whichever version. So Laura is going to go into her high crane. The crow pose is accessed here where my elbows rest on the inside of the knees. You've got a version just above, and you've got the straight arm version also, which I will demonstrate from this angle. Any tips before that, before we move on to you?
Just to really focus on leaning forward rather than moving upward, so you reach that pivot point where if you lean far enough forward, the feet will follow. There's a tendency to try and jump when you're first learning it. Just lean forward, and keep the chin up just to stop yourself from falling down on your head.
And from here, let's go into chaturanga. So let's do our arm balance. We would jump back into chaturanga, and then upward dog, downward dog, and then we will jump back to crow. Look forward, darling. You ready to jump into crow?
Don't always land this one. It was the pressure.
There are some things she doesn't get first time round, but she always gets it.
Eventually.
Well done, darling. So I like to do my arm balances and handstands at the start because I feel fairly alert, alive, I've got a bit of energy. So let's do a handstand. What's the basic step? Basic step. I've never done a handstand before. What would you tell me to do?
I would tell you to use the wall.
But we don't have a wall.
I would tell you to use a partner.
I don't have a partner.
Go and find one.
I don't need to. I have you, darling.
The first thing you want to do is probably think about the position of the handstand before you turn upside down. So we really want to be allowing the shoulders to lift up to the ears. I know it's outrageous in yoga. We're very often told shoulders away from the ears. In handstand, we actually want to allow the shoulders to lift up and find this strong and straight position there into the shoulders. So we've got this protraction of the shoulder going on. So I would get used to this position first because it does feel quite strange. So you can work on that seated, and you can work on it lying down as well. And if you work on it lying on your back, you can start to come into this kind of dish shape. That would be my first tip in terms of getting the position. And then it's a case of bringing yourself up onto your arms and trying to replicate it upside down, which is obviously more difficult.
So I obviously have a different way. I'm going to try your method, and if you wouldn't mind, you can talk me through it. So we're all going to do this together. You can watch me first, and then you can practice by yourself. So I'm going to place my hands nice and wide, very instinctively wide, whatever feels better for my, is that okay? And then I'm very conscious that I want to lift my hips up, not my feet, and you're saying that I really want to push into the ground and end up here, yeah?
Yeah, fingers nice and spread, hips over shoulders. Yeah.
So that's what I'm going for, pushing into the floor the whole time, yeah?
Yeah, pushing strongly into the floor, hips come up, and then keep pushing, push, push, push. And imagine that you're drawing the navel into the spine, straightening up through the back. Good. Keep pushing the floor away, reaching the feet up to the ceiling.
I can never do it with an audience. Why is that? I can only ever do it when I'm by myself, and I look around, there was no one there to see the glory. That felt amazing.
Good. So how would you approach it then? Slightly differently, or?
Kind of. I keep my legs apart much longer. So I lead with this leg, like this. And I keep doing that until I find my centre of gravity. So it's just a different way. I'm beginning to sweat now. Okay, so we've done our sun salutation, we've done our arm balance, our handstand. So let's do a few standing poses. Warrior one. So if we brace, increase the distance between your hips and ribs. Up, there. Feel the firmness in your stomach. Step back with your right foot. And let's do warrior one. Breathe in, reach higher. And as you breathe out, just look forward. Tighten your arms. Tighten your head even, using your arms. And let's challenge ourselves. Let's see if we can use our hips only, not our spine, and come into warrior three. See if we can go back to warrior one. The whole time I'm here, I want this to be a back bend from my thoracic, chest and neck, not my lower back. I'm making space here the whole time. And just bring your hands down to your side. Take a deep breath. Again, belly breath, belly breath. Let's do that again. So sinking, stretching all your feet, keeping that brace so the stomach muscles feel firm. The chest lifts, warrior one. Look forward, tighten. Now you don't want to use your spine. Move your hip, warrior three. And half moon. Hands in namaskar. And come to standing. Deep breaths. And let's do the same few poses on the other side. So again, brace, firm the stomach. Let's step back with the left foot. Don't forget to lift the heart, darling. Not the chest, the heart.
Open heart.
My heart's always open, darling. Look forward and tighten your head using your arms. Pause. Do not move the spine. The challenge is move at your right knee and your right hip. So your core remains tight, firm and locked. Now pause, focus, bend your right knee and slowly step back into warrior one once again. When you are here, you are making space between your hips and ribs. So you're never collapsing under the weight of gravity. This part is long, chest up. And bring your hands down to your side. Hold it there, take a few deep breaths. Great technique, darling.
Thanks.
When you feel ready, Warrior one again. Again, the stomach is firm. So all you're doing is you imagine you're bracing the stomach, bracing as if I was about to hit her stomach. I was going to say punch, but that's not very... So as if I'm about to hit the stomach, and you brace there. And now look forward. Keep the brace, keep this locked. Your lower back does not move, and then go into Warrior 3. There, all the movement is right knee, right hip. There we go. Spine doesn't need to move. Spine is straight, left leg straight, right leg straight, and perfectly straight. Now only move at your right hip, go into half moon. Only move the right hip, your spine stays as it was. There we go. So the movement is all at the right hip, not the left. You're still braced. In one movement, using your right hip only, come to standing, hands in namaskar. Deep breaths. Eyes open. A big step backwards with your right foot. We're going to come into side angle, so place your left hand to the inside of the left foot, and the right hand just reaches up, and I'm reaching up. As I'm reaching forward with my head, my back is always perfectly straight. Breathe in, and as you breathe out, lower the right hand down to the floor, come onto the toes of the right foot, back is straight, and use your ribs, twist over to the left. My spine is still perfectly straight. Bring the left hand down, come back onto the heel of the back foot, reach up once again. And slowly down one more time, coming onto the toes. Before you twist, your back is straight, and then use the ribs. And then slowly return. Take a deep breath, and this time take the left hand underneath the left hamstring, interlock behind your back. Look up. And then ease off, or you can step forward and go into Birds of Paradise, which I'm not going to do, by the way. Go on, darling. Give the women watching what they want. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the most ridiculous yoga pose ever. And it's ridiculous because I can't do it. Everything in yoga that I can't do is ridiculous, by the way. And just ease off. Let's step forward. We would normally change to face the back of the room, but we don't. Step back. And the same thing, we just do side angle. And not that badly though. There we go. I'll tell you why. Because the mic thing's digging into me. There we go. And lower the hand down. Spine stays straight. And twist. Stay for a few breaths. Right hand down. Turn. Oh, that was a good pop. That was a good pop. Stay for a few breaths, and in one movement. Lower the hand down, turn on the back foot, take a breath. When you feel ready, take the right arm underneath the hamstring, come into your variation, and ease off as I watch my wife gracefully enter Birds of Paradise. I'd love to meet the person who named this. Effortless. And step forward. And just come into a passive fold. So passive meaning just gravity. And then just take your feet a little bit wider and come to sit on your backside, and we'll do another arm balance before we finish with our seated sequence. To go. So what arm balance should we go for?
Koundinyasana, Astavakrasana.
How about both?
Okay, we've got time.
Yeah. So Astavakrasana, which some of you are very familiar with, you know how much I love to teach this. And from here, and then, that was a bit of a cheat. Come straight back. Easy. Let's go, my love.
So I come into it slightly differently, just in order to try and get the leg nice and high up onto the shoulder.
Sorry, it's 1 sec. Sorry, let me sit next to you so you pick up the mic.
I didn't think of that. So I try and get the leg as high up onto the shoulder, then lift the bum, cross at the ankles, and take the legs out to the side, and from there, sit sitting.
I knew you can do that.
Oh, why did you have to go back again? Forget that.
Hang on, have we just discovered something else that I can do that you can't?
I normally can.
Oh, I was just about to say I've got 3 poses better than you. So let's come into a few back bends. We've done forward fold. So let's come into Sphinx.
Obviously you want to do that both sides when you're practicing at home.
Yeah, of course. But it's funny, like Sally and Rachel and everyone who know me know that I would have just totally forgot the other side. It's not that it was intentional. So I'm lying down in my Sphinx position, and I think a lot of people need to retrain how their brain responds to this pose. A lot of us think we're using our lower back to lift the chest up. Those of you who know me know that this is not a back extension. This is an exercise in creating traction in your spine. So I'm very consciously dragging myself forward and imagining my hips are being pulled away. So I feel the space between the bones in my spine. That feels very, very therapeutic. Now, because I have a bad back and my tolerance for back bending is low today, this feels so good. I'm just going to stay here. I'm just going to breathe very, very. And then when and if Laura is ready, we will go into bow pose. And whilst I'm in Sphinx, I can talk people through. So the biggest focus is your chest. So think of this, to preserve your lower back, think of this as a chest stretch, not a back bend. As you breathe in, you lift. As you breathe out, you ease off 5–10%. As you breathe in, you lift. As you breathe out, you ease off. That's how you breathe in your back bending, if you want to continue to back bend in your 60s and 70s. And you could do that for more than a few breaths. And what you're doing here is you're really just prepping yourself up for the next pose, which is wheel. You're just creating like stimulus in the front part of the body, so wheel is a little more accessible. When you're ready, my love, you can go gracefully into wheel pose whilst I stay in this therapeutic Sphinx pose. So whilst Laura is in her wheel pose, breathing very slowly, you need to be very conscious that you're not over bending using your lower back. Remember, the spine has 3 sections: lumbar, thoracic, cervical. Don't put too much pressure in the lumbar. If you feel any discomfort into your lower back when you're back bending, you're probably overusing it. So you need to think more about thoracic and cervical. It's just a very common piece of advice for back bending. Don't feel the stress in your lower back. You can close your eyes. Use all 5 fingertips very, very consciously. You can be flat on your feet or on your toes, whatever makes you feel better about being in the pose. And generally after back bending, you finish off with a couple of light twists. You hug your knees into your chest. I normally allow you to have a few minutes best for your body. Cat cows, you give yourself a hug. So Laura's just twisting side to side. So Laura's knees go in one direction, her upper body tries to turn in the other direction. And we're just going to come up and onto our hands and knees and do our cat cows. So darling, if you could face me when you do it like this. And so if you remember, in cat cows you have a lumbar, thoracic and a cervical. So curve the entire section, or arch first, and then tuck in the chin and really round as much as you can, and then go back into arching. Inhale up, the whole section of the spine. Exhale, round, and feel all 3 movements. Don't think of this as stretching though, think of it as movement. You're trying to mobilize your spine. You don't want to finish yoga feeling like your back has been stressed by what you've done. You want to leave yoga feeling like you've made more space for the bones in your lower back and your spine feels more mobile. So that concludes our class, and doesn't it? Yeah. Very short class. Laura's going to run you through a more demanding one soon, and we're just going to finish with we're just going to finish with belly breathing. You just sit in any position that's comfortable for you, and you just want to be comfortable. You don't have to adopt any hand gestures or mudras or anything like that. Just be comfortable. You're not over exaggerating your posture. You just want to sit a little bit upright. I prefer to keep my hand on my stomach, so just close your eyes. When you feel ready, 4 count inhale through the nose and imagine you're filling your stomach with air. Hold your breath for 2 and exhale for 6. And just go at your own pace. So again, inhaling for 4, holding for 2, and exhaling for 6. Inhaling for 4, holding for 2, and exhaling for 6. Inhaling for 4, holding for 2, Exhaling for 6. And bring your hands to Namaskar and slowly open your eyes. Thank you, my darling.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. We will hopefully go live soon, and you can follow us as Laura forces me to become more creative with how I teach. And I really hope you can join us. Thank you again so much for watching. Namaste.